So why did you choose to when you retired, why did you choose to train civilians? And also, what advice would you give to students looking for good training?
Hmm. Okay, so for myself, one of the things, people talk about different units within special operations. People talk about, like, I was a Green Beret, talk about Navy SEALs and Army Rangers and Marine Raiders, of course, and all the different special operations elements out there, and AFSOC and so forth. And really, and people always want to talk about who's better, at this and that, or whatever. It's different tools in the toolbox. Like for different mission sets, there's different organizations, and so Green Berets, Special Forces, primarily what we do is teach. Um, for those, and I was not in the unit yet. I didn't get to the Special Forces group until about a year later. But if for those people that remember back in 2001, the American soldiers, Special Forces guys that were on horseback with the Northern Alliance fighting against the Taliban, that's what Green Berets do. Like link up with friendly partners we want to work with, and then help teach and advise them specifically, so that instead of sending 10,000 Americans or 20,000 or 100,000 Americans, we can send a few hundred Green Berets who can link up with our local partners and, and get work done with a lot more economy of force, as we call it. And so I spent most of my career teaching. Like I'm an Arabic speaker. At one point in time, I was pretty good. Every day I'm retired, I get worse and worse. But yeah, I spent most of my career teaching, our foreign partners how to do the things that they needed to know how to do to accomplish our joint mission, and doing it in a foreign language. And then I was privileged at the end of my career, right before I retired. I spent 3 years in our Special Warfare Center. Also, I was teaching an advanced skills course for already qualified Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and Marine Raiders. And I just love to teach. I frankly, I probably get more enjoyment out of facilitating the success of others than I do, succeeding on my own. When you can take
Mhm.
somebody from where they are to where they want to be and see them accomplish their goals, it's tremendously rewarding. And so when I retired, like I said, I love teaching. I'm actually working on my teaching, like a Bachelor of Arts in History, along with a teacher certification, so that one day when I'm no longer relevant to this field, I'll end up being like a full time high school history teacher and ball coach, because I just like making people better. And as far as what you want to look for in a trainer, when you're seeking training, I think I think the first thing that I look for is specificity and transparency in their background, because typically people who don't need to inflate or remain vague and ambiguous about their background don't. That if you look at, even like Uber commandos like Pat McNamara or Paul Howe, guys with those backgrounds, they'll tell you, like, hey, here's where I was, here's what I did. I know Paul Howe literally provided a DD 214 upon request, saying, I'm not making this up, this is really who I am, as opposed to vague claims of spec ops or you know security contracting. Like, what does that mean?
Mhm.
So people should be pretty transparent, and that doesn't mean that somebody has to have a background like that to be a trainer. That
Right.
by all means, that anybody can seek training, get really good at something, and then learn how to impart that to others and do that. But yeah, I look for people that are very, very specific and concrete in their claims about their background, their expertise. They'll tell you not just I train special ops, but like, cool, who have you trained under? Who have you
Mhm.
learned from? Like, kind of what instructor tree do you fall under? So
Mhm.
that's number one. And number two is I look for people that, as I'm talking to primarily an audience of private citizens, I'm looking for somebody who can help me with my current mission. Like if somebody was great with like hostage rescue in the Mediterranean on a boat, that's awesome. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take my 4-year-old to gymnastics, and I'm going to be doing the high school pickup line to pick up my daughter from
Mhm.
after school or whatever. And that's the kind of scenarios that I need to be prepared for. So if you're looking for serious self defense, there's nothing wrong with range fun as long as it's safe. But if you're looking to get better at self defense, I'm looking for people who are tailoring their message specifically to my needs and my mission as a private citizen, which is what I am now.